haven't decided yet whether I'm actually gonna do it or not. But it's better for you to just kind of do the movements yourself without seeing me do it, because it is you. Every skeleton's different, and every person's joint's different. So as a whole, you have to learn how to do it your way and make the kind of learning discoveries yourself. So I'm not going to tell you what's correct or what's blah blah blah. You just have to just see how you go and come through it. So to start off with, so I can see that you can't put your feet on the ground. Well, we want to. I'm just wondering, do we have another chair, like a one that's a bit lower? It's slightly and I can move. I can carry it. I mean, is it gonna? The thing is, if it moves.
Around, does that matter?
Well, I don't think so too much. I don't. It's more important for it to be at the right height. So you want to be at right angles, and yeah, you want your feet like comfortable. Yeah. So you want your sit bones to be slightly higher than where your knees are. Is that what's happening? Right? So where your sit bones are, I think your knees are slightly
lower.
I think that's perfect then. Okay, so all right. Now we're just gonna start to think about the shoulders at the moment. Well, we're gonna think of, and did you say turning your head? It's probably easier if you turn to the right compared to the left.
Probably the same.
We're about the same. Okay. We're about the same. Okay. So all right, we'll do right then. So if you'd like to begin moving your right shoulder forward and back, and if you just have your hands just soft on there,
Just
and
like around, you mean, or?
So just going to be forward towards the room and back towards the back. So I'm going to be talking about directions, and the direction is forward and back.
So that way?
No, sorry. So you're sitting like this, and the shoulders forward and back. And remembering the learning strategy. So remembering,
Not to go too far.
yeah. So just even if you're doing it a little bit, like even if you're doing it like a centimeter, and moving it forward and back. Remembering to breathe. And not going to the end range, remembering what I said about the muscles, so thinking of the process and thinking about where it's comfortable and being curious. Remembering it's not about the number of repetitions, it's about, okay, what's initiating the movement. So if you were to, remembering to breathe and if you just like to give that a rest now. And so just after that small movement, how does the right shoulder, and this is again another rhetorical, how is the right shoulder feeling? Does it feel different at all to the left one? Not at all. No. And if we like to begin to do the to turn your head slightly to the left, and then back to the middle. And when you come back to the middle, pause for a second, just pause in neutral in the middle, and then start again. And so you can start and turn your head to the left. Thinking about what parts of you are moving as you turn. So can you feel travelling at all further down you?
Yeah.
Is it
It's not sore, I can feel it pulling me, but it doesn't hurt as much.
What if can we try coming a little bit further to the edge of the seat? And what if you just go back to the right shoulder movement, so forward and back, and what if you were to make it?
Am I supposed to move my arm or not?
No.
Keep that still?
No, keep it as still as possible, and keep it in a comfortable position, so the elbow doesn't get in the way of you. So maybe even bring your hand a bit more forward, and however fast you're doing it now, if you were to half the speed, what if you were to half the speed of it? And is it smooth? Can you sense it being smooth? Could you make it smoother? Is there a way to make it smoother? Do you know where it's initiating the movement? And pause in between each movement, so pause in the middle, just gives you a chance to reflect and think, okay, and then you start again. You let it sit for a moment, and let it just kind of rest down as it sits between, because remember, it's not about the number of repetitions. And when you think of the shoulder, do you think of the front of it or the back of it? If you think of the front of it, think of the back of it. If you think of the back of it, think of the front of it. And changing your representation of the shoulder, does that change the movement? And when you think of the, okay, give that a rest now. And so, I think what we're going to do now, I think we'll do the anatomy bit about the shoulder. So. So the shoulder here, so you've got the humerus, which is this long bone, and you can see that it connects here, and you see here, this is the side kind of view, this is where the bone is connecting, and it's connecting, so you've got like, you know, your torso, and you've got like a thing like that, and then you've got the bone that's literally kind of connecting like that. So do that with your hands, like so. Okay, this is your torso, and this is the bone. Okay, and I'll just show another couple of pictures of. So again, here's the humerus, the bone of the arm, and it's connecting in, and you can see that the arm can move that way and that way. Here's your shoulder blade. That's on the back here, and you can see that the shoulder blade. This is a representation of the ribs, and you've got the two shoulder blades here, and you've got the collarbones, and this is like the ribs, and these shoulder blades actually glide in different directions across the ribs, and inside here, where the humerus connects to the torso, it actually glides. It glides, and it's not just the humerus that can glide. The torso can glide around. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do a little bit of and we'll use the ball in a sec. But initially, so let's get your hands back up again. And are you comfortable? Are your feet comfortable where they are? Okay, so you've got, this is the humerus, the arm, and this is the torso, and you're going to think of the arm initially just gliding inside the part of the torso, the part of your upper shoulder where it connects, and it's gliding, and you'll feel the connection in your palm. So you'll actually feel the connection of it gliding, and it doesn't move like this out of the actual encapsulation. It stays in here and move. And this is not the perfect example because the wrist is bending, but because the bone doesn't bend. But what you're trying to do now is actually sense it. So do the movement and sense the feeling of it, of how it kind of glides. The arm bone glides inside there, back and forth. Now think of how, and try to concentrate and think of it internally as well. A different direction could be forward like this and back. So the arm could go away from you and closer together. So remembering this is static. This is not moving, and the arm is just gliding inside in that palm area, where this is encapsulated over it, and it's gliding back and forth. So it's different directions. So forward and back might be harder, but then this way might be a bit easier. Okay, so give that a rest. And okay, so let's see where I'm up to. Okay, and then now we'll go back to the same arm, so do it the same way, and this time the torso is moving around the arm bone. So the torso is moving around, and it's just in this area. The torso is moving around the arm bone. You can feel that sensation in there. And you can do the other way. Forward, back. Let's do that rest now. You have to come back. And now if you'd like to combine the both, but the one that's moving a little bit more means that the other one in proportion will move a little bit less. So if this one's doing most of the movement, then this one's only doing a little bit of the movement. So this could be another way. So these are all different ways the shoulder can glide. So in this way, part of the torso may be moving only a little bit, but then the arm bones, and they're gliding in contact with one another. And can you sense in the or either one of the shoulders on one of the you can pick one of the shoulders. Actually, maybe pick the left shoulder, or which one are you doing? Yeah. Picture the left shoulder, and as you do the movement, picture whether the left shoulder is actually moving as well, whether it's gliding, whether that bone is gliding. Maybe it might be easier if you close your eyes. Can you sense that it's gliding inside that socket, that joint? And you have to put that down now. And how are you after that? Is it all comfortable? Yep, that was fine. Okay. So now we'll take the tennis ball. So, I mean, it's okay to good to do with the hand, but it's actually not the actual arm that you saw in the pictures is actually more like a circle like this, where it actually connects the joint. So If you like to reverse, so do the other combination if you can. So having the other arm as part of the torso and this and and now just do the gliding around the ball. So you could just hold the ball however comfortably you want to do it, and so actually no, we'll do this one first. So the arm bone is moving first, and it's gliding in the socket around and you can. This one's different because you can sense the feeling of this roundedness of the arm bone up against inside the socket. So this is what's happening in the socket when it glides, when the arm bone glides inside the where it connects into the torso of the shoulder. And then if you like to give that a pause. And does it help if you have the eyes open or eyes closed? Does it make a difference? Does it make a difference? And let's try again now, but the different way. So moving this way and that way. Are you rotating in the wrist or are you moving? Back and now if we want to do the torso moving inside the arm socket, so the torso is sliding over the round part where it connects, the arm connects. And you know when you move the shoulder whether this movement is familiar to you or not, or when you move the shoulder forward, are you moving the arm first, or are you moving? This is not a rhetorical question. Yes. And sometimes it's hard to, with a lot of these rhetorical questions, it's hard to kind of try to overthink them, but really. And it can be a little bit confusing, and there's not always an answer, but it's just more to kind of check in, and the only way to do it is to actually do the movement itself, and then know rather than actually thinking, oh, what am I doing now? So to bring it back up now, and now if we'd like to do combine the two, so. The torso is moving, the arm might be moving a little bit more. And you could try, the torso is only moving a little bit and the arm is moving more, and it's staying within this, so that it's moving, staying within the socket. And then you could try so you could try that the arm, this is the arm, and this was moving more, and then you could try that, and then this is not moving that much, and then you could try this one moving more and the arm not moving as much. And are you thinking of the shoulder as you do this movement, and which part is moving, gliding more? Is it the torso? Is it the arm, where the arm's connected? It's just good to check in and just kind of know what you're doing and put it down now. Okay, and now we're going to actually, give me the tennis ball back. We're going to go back now. Now that we've recognised this gliding concept, we're going to go back to the original right shoulder forward and back movement. Pardon me, and notice if it's affected the movement at all. So, and you can think of that gliding. Just staying in a comfortable range, not going too far, and pausing in the middle, so like pausing in between and just letting the whole shoulder rest. Just go soft, making sure you breathe. I'm thinking about where does it initiate, and you can notice this gliding sensation you were doing with your fist before in the ball, and that arm bone is gliding inside there, in that socket of the shoulder.
I think so. I think before I was a bit more jerky than it seems to be smoother now.
And you can just like to give that a rest now. And if you'd like to begin to turn your head to the left, smoothly, easy with your hands on there, and just going only a centimetre, only rotate it a little bit, but just noticing when you turn your head to the left, could it help if the right shoulder turned with the head, and pausing in each time you do it and having a soft jaw, and if you like to start again and just noticing when you turn your head to your left, could your shoulder also turn at the same time? I can just go slightly. Shoulders going slightly to the left in the head, and does it all go as kind of one piece together? Does the head go further than the shoulder, or does the shoulder go further? Could you make it so they both stay in line, so that if the shoulder goes to a certain threshold, that the head only goes to that threshold, and then you go back, and then you pause in the middle, and breathe in. Can you think of, or if you start thinking of
When you go back, you do stay straight forward. Go that way too.
when you're going back, your head just comes back to the middle. So you're just going to the left, and then just coming back to the middle, and the head stays on the horizon, and the shoulder comes back to where neutral is. Just give that a pause now. Just rest. And when you rest, you can rest back into the chair just to kind of give yourself a good rest, because you want to make sure that anything's kind of tense. You want to make sure you're comfortable everywhere. Like if
The back gets sort of busy forward.
yeah,
Too long.
yeah. Was it getting a bit tense? Yeah. So this is kind of where the kind of self-regulation part comes in, and often during Feldenkrais lessons, people will just, in the middle of instructions, people will just have rests, because they just know, like, okay, look, if I do any more, I'm going to start to feel a bit discomfort. So it's all a learning thing, but it's hard to check into every sort of sensation all the time. But we'll just see how we go. So if you'd like to come back, and you can stay, if you think it's more comfortable, you can stay back as well, like, because we can still do it back as well. So if you'd like to now think about the same movement, the right shoulder forward and the head going left, and just think, when you turn your head, do they both go simultaneously together with the shoulder? And so when you turn your head to the left, does the right shoulder also come at the same time? Are they both in synchronized fashion? Is it possible, if you think one of them's going first, starting first, to make it even by maybe making the other one go first? So if you're thinking the shoulders starting or the head starting, try and swap it around, make a little variation.
Because I think the head was going first.
Yeah, so if you start the shoulder now and then the head. Does that change a bit? Remember to pause in between each. That's one variation. What about if you, when you're turning your head, what do you think of in your head when you're turning? What if you start to think of where the nose is in the horizon? So where your nose is. So again, turning the shoulder, I'm thinking of where your nose is, and only going a certain point, so not going too far, and then just coming back and just noticing, tracking the nose on the horizon, making sure you're breathing, soft jaw. Give that a pause. Just rest back. So come back again. And now when you take your head and your shoulder to the left, what if you think about what your breastbone is doing? And I don't know if it's comfortable for you to put the other hand on your breastbone or part of your breastbone up here, and just so you can feel that bone, that middle bone. And so you just have your hand on there if that's comfortable, and could you do one or two of that movements to the left? The shoulder comes forward. Just noticing, does the breastbone change at all? Does it come with the movement? Is it all kind of one piece?
Yeah,
So
I think it's all like one piece.
can it all come like synchronized, like harmoniously all together?
Yeah, yes.
Has that kind of changed a bit of the movement for you? So kind of a bit more of you able to be part of the movement now?
More involved.
A bit more involved. You feel a bit more of it. And you're still breathing. And where your eyes, do your eyes part of your focus? Like, are you tracking where your head goes with your eyes? And is that part of? So do you always go to that one point? If you're going to a certain point, maybe just back off a little bit. Let's go a little bit less. And noticing, does your nose also go? And does your head go too far? So does your breastbone and your shoulder go to a certain point, and then your head just goes even further? But could you just let the head stop at the point where the so in terms of the range of your head movement, can the shoulder and the chest just go to a certain point, and then the head also just goes to that point, and then it comes back with the shoulder and the breastbone, so you don't have to be looking as far around. And if you just want to give that a rest now and just get comfortable, and noticing, is there much difference now between the two shoulders? So can you sense, is it feeling a bit more easy, a bit more comfortable? Is one a little
bit looser?
One a bit looser? Yeah. One a bit higher or a bit softer?
This one's a bit looser.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Okay, and we'll do one more variation with this. Do a couple more actually. Do you want to come back? And now, if you'd like to think of, you could put your left hand on your chin. So you want to grab your chin just in a secure spot. So you could have the fingers on the line of the jaw, and the thumb just secured around, so you've kind of got it in a comfortable state there, and you can breathe comfortably and your throat's okay. And now if you just like to, and so the movement is going to be, so think of as if the hand is just part of your chin. So think of as if they're just kind of two friends connected, you know, at the arms, like two, say, I could do the imagery, two friends with locked arms. They're just, you know, in a loving way, and you're not, and you're just connected in a and you're feeling like it's glued and it's connected. It's one part. So the skeleton of the chin is connected then to the arm, and now you're going to be moving the right shoulder to the left, forward. So the right shoulder is going to be forward, and the head's to the left, and it's all going to come. It's all going to be one part. So the arm's just kind of passive. So the arm that's grabbing the chin is passive. So that the head is just slightly moving with the shoulder, and it only goes to a certain point, so not too far, and then it comes back. And just notice the chin. What if the chin drops just a bit and it's just soft and it just comes along for the ride? The arm's just coming along for the ride a little bit. How does that feel? Okay, just gonna drop the hand there. Because actually it's interesting, the top of the skull and the bottom of the skull, actually the top of the skull is the top of the jaw, and the whole skull and the top of the jaw is the top of the jaw. So the whole top of the jaw is connected to the whole of the head, and then the bottom of the jaw is just connected, you know, here.
See where it joins.
Here, just where it joins. So when you're kind of going back to doing that movement again, if you just put your hand back to the so I think the left hand up to here, and now if you just thought, you know, close your eyes and think of the jaws relaxed, and remembering that the lower jaw is just part of the is not part of the whole head, but still the whole head's moving. Does that kind of give a different sense to the movement? Put it down again. Okay, so to rest. We'll try one more thing with the breathing. So if you'd like to come back now and coming back to the original movement of just the shoulder forward and back, and experimenting with breath in and out, so inhalation and exhalation. So could you try exhaling as you move the shoulder forward as one variation, and inhaling as it comes back? This is one variation. And what happens in the belly when you do that? Belly soft. And make it easier to coordinate the breath with the movement. I'd just like to pause that for a second now. And now if you'd like to try the same thing but with inhalation forward. So seeing how experimenting with these little variations of things, what it does. So try inhaling forward and then exhaling back. treadmill before you start again, and that's enough. So, could you tell which one was easier?
Inhaling as you go forward.
Inhaling?
Yeah.
Okay, do you want to try one more time the other way around? And just remembering to rest, let the shoulder drop and soften between movements. So, also remember the glide. That's enough. So just like to rest now. So how does the shoulder feel now? Does it feel even more softer or more looser? Yeah. Don't worry, we will do that one, but a good thing in terms of learning is doing that kind of like the way our brain works is in terms of patterns and relationships. So a good way to learn is doing it all on one way and then doing it on the other way and seeing the difference and making that distinction inside of you that, oh yes, this is how it feels now, and that's actually how our nervous system learns. That's how we can learn. So one more time, if you just like to do the head to the left and shoulder forward, just in comfort and softly, and just thinking of all these different variations we've done, and thinking of that as the movement change from before. Okay, that's enough. Just one reference move to check in, and rest. And how are you feeling now? Because we were going to move on to a little bit of the hip of the lesson, but I was just thinking you might want to. I think we've been doing this lesson now for like half an hour. We might want to get up and just for a couple of minutes and just kind of reset the body and just walk around, maybe go to the toilet and come back and do the second half of it.
So drink of water.
Yeah, drink of water. Yeah, I might go to the loo. How are you feeling walking now?
Still a bit tight from that relaxing.
Go back to the chair. So this time we're gonna do the rest of the second half of the lesson. And, we're gonna try and integrate the bottom half of you, because often we're sitting in chairs and we disconnect from, you know, the hips down and we lose our legs. And that's often a common problem with a lot of sitting and computer work. I know we're aware of the front part of us, we're visually there, and the desk is here, and it's like, oh, what's happening with the rest of us? I've just lost it. So, yeah, let's try and connect. So, just checking in one more time to that movement from the start. So, if you like to sit comfortable, this comfortable point, and have your hands on your lap and on your knees or wherever it's comfortable, and just the shoulder forward, the right shoulder forward and back. Noticing how smooth it is the movement. How easy is it? And just give that a pause. And now if you'd like to imagine someone is, or actually we'll just do imagine first, but imagine someone is gently pushing your left knee backwards towards your trunk. So you're just concentrating on the left knee, and the left thigh bone is connected to the left hip, and you're just thinking of someone who's gently got their hand on your knee, and they're pushing it back that way. So as you're sitting there, you're sitting and it'll be going back that way. So your left knee, and in between each, just pause, but just going gently and feeling as the thigh push up against your hip, and actually your left thigh. So just going gently, easy. So the hand doesn't. So you leave your hand here, and you're just initiating the movement back and forward. And just pause for a second now, and if you like to, if it's comfortable, I don't know if you can. Could you put your hand underneath your sit bone and just feel your sit bone? As long as that's comfortable. And now if you were to do the same movement, so long as it's comfortable, if something's not stretching, just do the same movement, just a bit smaller, do it a little bit smaller, and just do the left knee just back a little bit, just a little bit, like feel as if it's hardly even moving. But you'll notice the feeling shifting of the weight across your sit bone. You might notice the weight's more on your right sit bone, and you just kind of and you can just feel that the weights are shifting across the left sit bone as you bring your knee backwards and then forwards, and then you pause in between each. Maybe just pause now, take your hand out, make sure to breathe. So the sit bone, and the hip joint, we'll go into a bit of anatomy in a sec, but the hip joint is actually down around here. So if you kind of like put your hand there and put it there, it's actually, and that's where your leg is connecting to your pelvis. So it's not connecting here on your hip, where people say put your hands to your hips. It's not connecting here. It's not connecting where the sit bone is. Yeah, it's a bone in there. So if you just put your hand there, if you can, and then just think of it and start thinking of that. Could this be another joint that glides? But just, we'll go into that in a sec, but just thinking of me going back, same movement, and just thinking it's the hip that's allowing me to slide the knee back. It's the hip. And you'll notice the weight change in the sit bones. You might notice the weight change over the two sit bones, over your torso and your head. Where's your head? Is it in the middle of you, or where is it comfortable? And we'll give that a rest now. So maybe go once back to having your hand underneath the sit bone and just noticing, is it possible if you put your knee back, left knee back, is it possible to think of, and is it also determined where, like, can you feel, do your feet have a good grasp of the ground? Can you sense the back of your heels as you do this? Like, are the heels, is the heel directly over the top of the knee? So can you sense, is your feet a bit further away from you, or can you sense a good connection, like a right angle with your knee and your heel?
No, not really.
No, that's all right. But and noticing the weight shift over the sit bone, and noticing the difference between the sit bone and the hip joint. Where the hip joint might be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you just like to give that a rest. Okay. Now we're going to do a little bit of hip joint 101. And where are we? Okay. So we've got the hip joint here, and here's the pelvis, and this is the base of what's called the sacrum, the middle part of basically the base of the spine. And these are these big lumbar vertebrae that connect to the base. And so this whole pelvic structure, and these are the bits when you say put your hands on the hip bones, that's here. And even have a feel there. This is that structure there,
Yeah.
and then this structure here. This is the top of the leg, and the hip joint is actually, as we said, kind of right in there. So it's right in there, and actually this thing called the great trochanter. If you put your hand just a bit below, so you've got this wing bit here. So if you put your hand there, that's actually the great trochanter. So that's the part of this upper leg thigh bone, and so actually, in terms of exploration, in terms of playing around with things and getting that body image and that map more restored to where it needs to be, it's good to just, this area is so pivotal, just as pivotal as the shoulder area, maybe even more so, because it's like your base of support, it's your middle structure, and there's so much power, there's so much strong muscles around here, and the muscles that connect between this leg and the base of the spine here, and then so it's really good to reinforce this sort of thing in your image. And even if you were to just do little movements in the chair of holding your great trochanter, moving your knee forward and back like that, and just noticing where the movement goes. And where, as your sit bone, you're noticing the sit bone shift, and then you could change and you put your hand on the sit bone and noticing where the sit bone goes, where your knee goes. And you could try, like I do it in the shower every morning, like I actually will feel all around this area, and then you've got the pubic bone at the front that then connects to the sit bone. So the sit bone, actually, this isn't the best photo of it. But yeah, these are the sit bones here, and a side view. There's the pubic bone there at the front, which can also be felt. So these are the sit bones that we sit on, and there's the pubic bone. And you can see it's actually one bone. It's all attached. This whole area is the pelvis, and you've got the tailbone, which you can also feel. So actually, it's really good for reinforcing your body image. If you just to explore, like in a shower or whatnot, just explore as much of this pelvic region as possible, because I know with your issues of the sciatic but we don't want to be thinking too much of the issues, because best to actually I liken it to, if you keep fixed on the problems, then they won't go away. But if you think, when you think of pain, obviously it's hard to think of pain, but instead of thinking away from the pain and just thinking, okay, why have I got that pain now? What if I move myself differently? Then I might be able to get rid of that pain. And actually, a lot of the pain is down to incorrect or poor movement and having a poor body map. So if you increase that range of the body image inside of you, then you'll actually learn to move better and more correctly, and then you'll end up getting less pain. So yeah, I mean, it's even good to like just do a bit of exploration. Like Google it. We've got a wonderful internet, so you can like have a look at the anatomy and then just start exploring it. And so there's actually another book I was going to show. That's the shoulder. So we've got the hip bone connected here when you're walking, and you can see it there. There's a side view, but you can actually see how it's properly connected there. Here you can see there's the bone, and then it's connected by all these muscles that are connected from here into the middle there. And so that's another joint there that can glide and slide like we did with the shoulder. So actually doing that same thing that we just did before with the shoulder with the ball, we can do that with the hip, but we probably won't do it right now. Okay, let's just do it quickly. Yeah. So if you're going to come back with so you've got the so you've got, this is the leg bone, and then this is the part of the pelvis where it connects, like a socket. Actually, let me just see if we show you one more time where yeah, I showed you this, didn't I? So where it's like this round part here, and it's connecting to that socket just there. So that's what we're kind of emulating now. So that's the round bone, and then you can think of the leg bone just gliding around that socket of the pelvis. Make sure you're comfortable, your feet are a comfortable spot. And gliding. Gliding a different way. And back. Okay, give it rest now. We could take this ball, and now getting back to that movement we were doing before. Actually, sorry, we'll just do one more variation before we do this. So we'll go back to the now the actual pelvis is gliding around the leg. So the pelvis is gliding around the leg, and you can feel it in here. Rest now. And back up, and now the leg might be moving a bit more, but the pelvis is just moving slightly as well. So they're both together. Feel that bone. Maybe take the ball now and just put that in there, and then feel that how it's gliding inside. And they're both moving, gliding. Now if you put the ball here, and so you're just thinking now, and you're thinking, instead of thinking the ball, think of the hip, and remembering that thing before where the knee was going to go back. So thinking of the knee just going back, and the weight might shift and coming back and pausing, making sure to pause, let everything drop and get soft before you go again. And try breathing out as you go back, breathing in as you come forward. Try the opposite now, try breathing in as you go back. How does that feel? Breathing in as you go back, and breathing out as you go forward. You're doing a lot of pushing through the foot. Just give that a rest now. Are you doing a lot of pushing through the foot then, or was it?
Probably.
That's all right. It's just about. It's not about doing it correctly or whatnot. It's just about noticing what you're doing, and then you can do something about it, or throwing in enough. What we're actually doing now is we're exploring a lot of different variations of doing the same movement. You're probably already realizing that. And the reason there is when people get habits and they get fixed, and as you get older and older, there's only one way to do things and become more narrow, and it's like this is the only way, and you only move a certain way. But right now we're trying to go back to like being playful kids, and like kids, like I said to you once before, they might choose to jump over a fence, but as you get older, you'll walk around the fence. So that mobility and flexibility is gone as you get older, and you get more rigid, and you only know one way to do it. While Feldenkrais said you had to be able to do everything at least 3 or more different ways. So right now we're throwing in all these variations to try and mix up and kind of confuse the habits and trying to give your nervous system more options to do things. And the more you do this and play around with it, integrate it into your everyday life, even thinking about it for 30 seconds, different variations of things, the quicker you'll improve. So if we go back now to bringing the left knee backwards and thinking of the thigh pushing into the hip slightly, and when you do that, could you think of also the right knee comes forward? So as you move back, and you could think of breathing in as you go back, and the left knee comes back, and the right knee comes forward. So to think of that, and just playing around with being curious, and working in comfort, working in the field of comfort, making sure everything's soft and comfortable, and that you're breathing. You could experiment breathing in, making sure you pause in between, and you think like slowly or more simple, make them more simple, or make the speed of the movement half the speed. And if I slowed it down to half the speed I was previously doing it, does that make me sense a bit more? And just putting that at rest. Noticing that you just take a deep breath. Was that because you were holding your breath? Possibly?
Possibly.
Yeah. So just making sure that, we do it, like, it's phenomenal. Like I just taught a lesson last week on breathing, and the amount of times that throughout a day we hold our breath. I mean, based on our psyche, and based on even our thought patterns, so emotions, thoughts, we could be thinking something, and then all of a sudden what we're thinking will hold our breath. Like, it's astounding how much we hold our breath, and actually not breathing correctly and means that more CO2 is in your system. More CO2 in your system means more muscle tension, and stress, and etc. So breathing is a big part of it. And if you go to open a jar, you'll go, and everyone will do it. Like, no matter who, like even like the most trained Feldenkrais practitioner in the world, everyone will hold their breath, and it's just something innate in you. It's the ability to notice that and discern and make that difference and go, hang on right now, am I holding my breath? What if I just think of breathing out, like calmly, and making that movement. Could it be easier? So why don't we try one more time, with the left knee going backwards and the right knee going forwards, and noticing what happens in the torso. So noticing, do you move? Could you also be moving the right shoulder forward? So as you move your left knee back, could your right shoulder want to come forward? Yeah. So think about that concept of integrating that shoulder movement and the torso. Is it kind of,
Feel it in here.
yeah? Is it all soft in there as well? Are you breathing as you do the movement? So your left knee comes back, the right knee might come forward, and the right shoulder might come forward. And does your head want to turn a little bit? Does your head want to just don't make it happen? Just notice. Just notice if it's happening. And how it's all integrated. How you're integrating the initial movement. And you like to go back to that movement again, and just noticing something else. So we're left knee's going back, right knee's going forward, shoulders going forward, head might be wanting to go a little bit to the left. And just noticing as you do that, does the pressure on your feet change? The soles of your feet change? Can you work out where the pressure is going, where it's changing? Interesting. And just give that a rest now. Just have a rest. So if you'd like to come back now, and just going back now to the original movement of the shoulder going forward and back, and noticing how different is it now? Is it smoother? Is it easier?
It's easier.
Okay, I'm just giving that a rest now. Okay. So now we're going to quickly, and this is something that Northern Deutsch aspires to, we're going to quickly try and integrate what we've just done, but it should be a lot faster, but we're going to try and do it in our imagination. So they actually say now, they've done tests, and they say that 80% of a movement neurologically and in the nervous system, it's as if you've still done the movement, even if you haven't done the movement. So you can actually train yourself, the other side of yourself, to still do the movement. It's as if you've done the movement, and you haven't even made the actual movement. So you've done it in your imagination. So this is the power of the imagination. There's a chapter in there of Deutsch. So if you're comfortable now, if you'd just like to close your eyes, and just like to picture so you're gonna just do this in your imagination. So the movement, you're not actually gonna do the movement, but you're gonna picture the left shoulder moving forward and back to neutral to the middle, and remembering to breathe and remembering all the different parts of your left shoulder. And so you can start when you want to start, and remembering to pause in the middle, thinking of your perception of the front of the left shoulder in the movement, or thinking of the back of your left shoulder in the movement.
So, moving the left shoulder now?
Oh no, you're only doing it in your imagination. So
just not doing it at all.
you're not doing it at all, but you're just doing it in your mind. So you're thinking, okay, what would it be like now to do the movement on the left shoulder, actually pretending to do the movement in your mind, but not actually doing it anatomically. So if that's possible, and then just having a soft jaw, making sure you can breathe, and thinking of the left shoulder in the way that you've thought of the right shoulder, now trying to transfer thinking of that gliding of the socket, how it glides forward smoothly, getting that movement smooth, and how it glides back, and how you rest and the shoulder drops in the middle, in between the movements, and thinking of the front of the shoulder, or the side of the shoulder, or the back of your shoulder, and thinking of this 3D image of your left shoulder, and thinking of this 3D image, does it make it a bit more broader? Does it make the left shoulder a bit more broader rather than narrower? And you're breathing while you do this, you imagine this movement. And after you've done 5 or 6 of them, and you've done that many, just give it a rest and have a rest, and you can open your eyes and just have a rest. And just notice how does your left shoulder feel now? Has it changed at all compared to when before you did you were noticing the right a lot, and yeah. Okay, so if you'd now like to come back to the position, and if you'd like to just imagine, so you're just going to be imagining the head turning to the right. So your head, imagine your head turning to the right, and you can think of only going to like a range that's comfortable for you. Thinking of the sternum, or the breastbone coming to the right as your head goes to the right. So does your chest come with your head as you turn your head to the right in your imagination? And does your left shoulder want to come at all in your imagination with your head to the right? Feel a twist at all through yourself. Breathing. On the rest, sorry?
I was going to fall forward then.
Oh. Okay. And now if you'd like to just try to turn your head to the try to do your shoulder, left shoulder forward, like actually forward, and your head to the right, and just notice them both going forward and then coming back into the middle and pausing, and just do one more time. And coming back. That's it. Now if you'd just like to try once turning your head to the right and once turning your head to the left. Okay. What do you feel? And if you'd like to try that one more time, and just notice, what do you feel in the knees when you turn your to the right and to the left? What if you turn your head just to the right? Do you notice that you want to bring your right knee back? Or if you want to, or if you like to pause there. And now just imagine bringing your right knee back and your left knee forward. So that movement we were doing before, but we're kind of swapping it. So imagining the right knee back and the thigh muscle will be going, as your right knee goes back, the thigh muscle will be going into the right hip. And then you may notice it kind of twists and the left knee might go forward. You might notice the weight shifting. And if you're just doing it in your imagination, you notice, is there a weight shift just in your imagination? Okay. So now if you'd just like to try one more time with your shoulder going left shoulder going forward, and then going to looking to the right and bringing your right knee back and the left knee forward and coming back. And you feel that twist inside of you. And then breathing in or out as you go around. Would you try breathing out as you go around now? How does that change the movement?
Nice and easy.
Okay, cool. Okay, so if you'd now like to try to combine the two, so you're gonna look. You're not gonna think about it too much, but you're gonna look to the right and just see if you may what the twist does or what he does, and then look to the left and just see how it is. And yeah, I think we'll probably call it there, but maybe just before the end, normally we normally do a scan like we did at the start before people come up to standing, but because we're doing the seat lesson, we're going to have to do that. But yeah. So if you'd just like to come up to standing maybe, and noticing the weight over the 2 feet now, is it changed at all from how you normally are? Is the weight the same as it normally is, or is there a difference in how much weight there is on each foot and which part of the feet that there is weight?
No, it's the same.
And how about turning? Like if you just turn one way and the other, like while standing, is it? We didn't do it at the start, but just noticing how it is to turn while standing. Is it a bit smoother, or does it feel a bit easier to turn? Maybe one side is a bit easier than the other.
The right side is easier.
Okay, we just like to go for a walk now and just see how it is to walk.
I think it's the same, but at the moment I've got pins and needles in this leg which come and go, so it's making it a bit more difficult.
So with those pins and needles there,
No, they come and go. They
Oh.
weren't there before. Just when I stood up.
okay.
Just depends on what way I move with it.
Yeah,
What to do with the silly
cool.
nerve thing.
Yes, yes. So what we can do is, so I can, if I get your email address,
Mm-hmm.
I can send you the recording the audio or the video, and so in order to probably get improvements, it's good to actually do, as I said earlier, like try and integrate bits of this or different movements or concepts as much as possible. So some things you kind of liked more from today, you could just go with it, or some bits that you remember, and just things like, you know, working on the body image, so the actual map, and you know, feeling different parts of your bone, especially around your pelvis, your shoulder, your collarbones, your breastbone, and feeling how it is to move with it, and just doing different little bits and pieces every day will help. Or the more you do, quicker it'll improve. But actually, we find that that there's things called awareness through movement lessons, and they have weekly lessons, and that's something I'm going to be probably starting to do at some stage. Now I asked my mum, because, you know, my apartment is upstairs, so I asked Mum if she minds, like, if I start to run some classes in the front room. It's a spare room, because I know that James Fury's fiance Angie, she's got similar issues, like, you know, like the sciatic thing, and and she's on painkillers and stuff, and she's been like that for a while. So I was thinking I might, if you're interested, because the actual benefits probably, I mean, yes, you can take bits yourself and do them, but you really need to be kind of guided. Yeah, I've been doing a lesson every week now for about five years, and it just, like, the more you do, the quicker you see improvement, sort of thing. Yeah, I know you can see how you go today.
Yeah, if
and
we
and
do
see
have
how
the classes, it'd be fine. I could come.
Yeah. So I'll have to, like, check in with the Furies and see how they're going, and yeah, we can do another one-on-one in a couple of weeks if you want to, or see how you go with these lessons. I can send you what we did today. Yeah, it's up to you. We'll just see how we go. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, let me know if you can organise the classes, and I'll see how I go. If I get the video, and can go from there.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, I can think of I'm trying to think of some other exercises that might be. But now that I've seen you, and I might be able to kind of brainstorm and think of some other kind of exercises. Like today, I only chose this lesson because I thought, as you said, that it was easy to do stuff in a chair. I think based on my experience of looking at videos of sciatic pain, yeah, it's not good to be on your sides, as you said, or on your back. It is also difficult when doing these lessons. So it doesn't. Yeah, we are limited with some options there, but there are lessons on the belly, and a lot in sitting in seats as well, and there's some as well. Also in walking as well. So yeah, we can see how we go. So I'll grab your email.
Yeah, it's
address.
rdworms@hotmail.com.
rdworms@hotmail.com.
Yep.
So have you had experience with things like Dropbox before? Or so what I could do is I could make the video available. I have a private. So as part of the training program, I have a private YouTube channel, but I also have one just for myself. So I could just make the video available to you via that, and the audio. Would it be best for you to use it on your phone, or would it be best for you to play it on a computer, or what would be best?
Probably on a computer, I think.
Computer, yeah, okay. So I'll just give you a link, so you can probably. Would you download it? Could you download it?
Yeah.
Would that be alright?
Can you do it on an iPad?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that'd be easy.
So playing it on an iPad. Yeah, okay. Yep. Would you want to play it straight from a website, or would you want to download it? Doesn't matter which one.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. So you often you have downloaded MP3s and things like that from.
No, not for a while. Usually card does it for me. I don't really know. too much.
Okay. All right. So it's better if it just plays directly
Yeah,
from.
probably.
Okay. Cool. Cool.